What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down the best wide receivers to study for any wide receiver body type, speed, route runner, etc. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver and you would like access to 200 plus wide receiver drills with the exact sets and reps for the drills broken down, and then each drill organized into categories so you know where to start, you know where the information is, it's easily accessible. Check out that very first link in the description below to get access to all of that content and broken down into these specific playlists. So again, very first link in that description below. Let's get started with this video. So we're going to be going over some of the best wide receivers to study on film, why they're some of the best receivers to study on film for the specific body type or speed wide receiver you are. So the first one I want to talk about is if you're maybe a wide receiver who's on the bigger side of things, right? You're a more physical guy. You want to know how you can get separation while being at your size. Maybe you're on the slower side of things as well. I don't think A.J. Brown is very slow. I think he's actually very, very fast for his size. However, he's on the bigger side of things, physical side of things, and I think he's a great player to try to model your game after. You should never try to be exactly like a wide receiver. You should never try to do everything exactly like how he does it. But you can take some key elements of his game that works for him that could actually work for you within your offense. So this is a great example of why A.J. Brown is so dangerous, right? So he's doing this like diamond release slant, attacks the outside shoulder of the DB, throws him by, is able to make a catch, and then make somebody miss and break a tackle. Guys, this is how you got to play the game if you're a bigger dude. Because when you're a big guy, you have the luxury that I did not have. You have the luxury that so many wide receivers have off the line. You are a threat downfield. Whether we like it or not, you're a threat downfield because what's this DB terrified of, especially in today's football? That head top fade, 50 yards downfield, 20 yards downfield, red zone. So he's going to be over anxious to play the fade, and we can use that to my advantage off the line of scrimmage. So you see how A.J. Brown, diamond release is where you attack a DB's outside shoulder for 3 hard steps. You get him to flip those hips, and then you slip underneath him, right? So he comes off the ball, 1, 2, 3. And when he commits to the outside, he's running with good speed, good body language, good stride. This DB, I guarantee you, could beat A.J. Brown probably in a foot race, right? If they raced, they both started at the same spot, both hips facing forward, that DB would probably be faster than him because DBs are some of the fastest players on the field, but he does not have that. But A.J. Brown, when it's an actual route, has that vertical threat working for him. So that's why he's able to get separation, and this DB's over anxious to commit. Now, this is where you got to use your size to advantage. You cannot be a big wide receiver and be soft and have some success. You can't be afraid to throw a guy by. You can't be afraid to swat his hands. You can't be afraid to hand fight off the line because that's our game. You're that size. You got to use that to your advantage. So when he slips underneath, you see how he's throwing this DB by. He's attacking the point of control, the back of his elbow, maybe the back of his shoulder, the back of his hip. Those are the 3 points of controls for a DB, and that's what those bigger guys need to be focused on. Swatting him by, using your size to your advantage, and allowing that to create separation for you. Now, is this the only situation you can use it? Absolutely not. Like, let's say, for example, we come up to the line of scrimmage, and you have a DB who's lined up inside shade, and you got to go run a fade. So obviously what you're going to do is you're going to attack him inside, and you're going to take an outside release. So you should have a plan to be physical and swat his outside arm, because that's the arm that prevents you from taking that outside release. So you watch A.J. Brown's game, you watch a lot of the routes that he runs, some of the things that he does, very, very physical, very, very smooth in and out of his cuts. Great guy to try to model some of the aspects of your game after if you're on the bigger or maybe even the slower side of things. So let's play this again, full speed one more time. Great job by Brown, swatting by, making this catch, and again, also showcasing to get yards after the catch. Okay, so now, second receiver that I think is great to study for a lot of you smaller wide receivers, and again, a lot of you wide receivers who maybe don't have the best speed, and that is going to be Hunter Renfro. Now, Hunter Renfro, I think him and Cooper Kupp probably are great examples of this. They're some of the best route technicians in the game, and the way they play the game is great for a guy like their size, right? But they are very, very shifty. So what I recommend, like again, because you could try to model your game after these guys all day long, but if you lack certain physical attributes, it's going to be very, very tough, right? So what is Hunter Renfro very good at? Making cuts, getting in and out of breaks. He's very shifty, making people miss. That's what you should try to add to your game, guys. Those are the types of exercises you should be doing, the drills you should be working on, change of direction drills, because it all translates to this type of stuff. But in terms of how they play the game, it is very, very detailed and very, very He has a high football IQ is what I'm trying to say. So let's look at this example here. He's going to be running like a 10 to 12 yard out route versus a DB who's an outside shade off man coverage. So pre-snap, we know that this DB is not trying to give up the out, the corner, the fade, because he's outside leverage. He's trying to force everything to the inside, which is where he has help. And Renfro has his split cut down. He's lined up past the top of the numbers. So he's anticipating the outside breaking route. If he's anticipating it, guys, it is tough to get separation that way. So what he does is he makes it look like a post by using something called a rocker step. So he gives a 1-2, hard cut to the inside, and gives that quarterback room to throw him open. That is a textbook route right there. Because when you attack his inside shoulder, guys, and your goal is to get him to flip vertical to the fade, and you're in the red zone, and your goal is just, okay, I'm going to run hard, he's going to flip, and I'm going to slip under. In the red zone, he's not going to flip like that. Because, again, he's not threatened by that deep vertical. He's threatened more by the inside breaking route than he is by the vertical. And that's why Renfro uses this. That's AKA having the high football IQ. Because when a DB is in like the red zone and the goal line, he's not going to be backpedaling way out of there. He's going to be patient because you running a deep fade is not a threat to him. He's like, go ahead, run out of the back of the end zone. So he's going to be patient. But that's where we can use this rocker step. He attacks. And again, he hits him with this 1-2. He sells with his hips, sells with his shoulders. He's stepping to the post. Maybe he's ran a post a couple times. Make your routes look similar, fellas. Because when you get this guy to jump and you didn't just run or try to run around him, you got space for your QB. And when you give your quarterback space, that's a very, very dangerous route. Because so many wide receivers will see that, okay, he's outside leverage, I got to run an out route. They'll just try to run around him. And this DB is going to stay patient, keep his leverage, get hands on us, and squeeze us to the sideline. So him having this route running IQ gives the quarterback space. It's a quarterback-friendly route, and it's a friendly route for a wide receiver who's not on the bigger side of things. If your goal is just to try to run outside and be physical, that's not our game, guys. We have to trust the route concept. We have to trust my football IQ as a shorter wide receiver. So let's play this full speed again one more time. Great job attacking, hitting that rocker step, getting the DB to jump. Hunter Renfro, there's countless numbers of examples of him doing these high football IQ plays. That's why he's a great wide receiver to study. Because if you're on the smaller side of things, slower side of things, guys, you need to have some attributes to your game that other people might not have. The days of you just running around people are very, very slim, right? When you get to the college level, guys, everybody's fast. Every single DB is insanely athletic. You're not going to be able to run around dudes like you did in youth ball, high school ball. You got to have these attributes. Got to be able to run routes, and you got to understand coverages and how to make people miss. Now, this next guy, Devon Diggs, needs no introduction. He is probably, I would say, if you're looking to become a better route runner, you watch his film. He's just, everything he does is so calculated. It's so efficient. He doesn't waste time. When he does do slower paced things, he's always on time with Josh Allen. He's always on the same page as his quarterback. Everything he does is textbook. And this is a great example of this, right? And so this is just one of the many examples. But if you're looking to improve your routes, guys, Devon Diggs, can't go wrong with him. Justin Jefferson, can't go wrong with him either. Devontae Adams. If you want to become a better route runner, study what those guys do. Seriously. Don't want to be exactly like them, but study conceptually how they run their routes and compare it to the knowledge that you already have. And I'm assuming a lot of you have a lot of knowledge because you've been watching this channel and keeping up with these videos, obviously. So he's running a slant route, and he's got a DB who's lined up inside shade, but kind of 2 to 3 yards away from him, right? So if you got 2 to 3 yards away inside shade, like what if he just took off and did like a diamond release, right? Because that's what he ultimately has to do. You're running a slant route. You got inside shade press. You want to attack his outside shoulder and his outside hip. The goal is to get him to flip his hips to the fade and you slip underneath and run the slant. Now, if he were to just take off and run right now, there's this big gap between him and the DB. So when he puts the brakes on to slip underneath, that DB can just open up his hips and beat him to the spot because ultimately that's where we have to get to. So what he does is he closes the space first, then attacks the outside shoulder so that DB cannot recover. That minor detail, guys, gets him a world of separation. He comes off the ball, let's close the space. Let's bring that line of scrimmage to the DB. Let's step on his toes. Let's make him uncomfortable. So when I attack him on that diamond release to his outside shoulder, when I put the brakes on, there isn't room for him to recover. He's not over here and can just open up his hips and jump this thing. I could actually slip underneath and win on that slant route. So that's textbook there from Devon Diggs. And there's a million examples of those little details with his routes, guys. So I think he's probably the best wide receiver to study when it comes to your routes. There are many other great ones, like we said, but trust me, fellas, Diggs is on a whole nother level when it comes to those route running details. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like access to 200 plus wide receiver drills, all broken down with sets, reps, and obviously we organize them into categories so it's easy for you guys to retain the information, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you on that. I'll see you guys next time.